And a good morning to you all, and welcome to the starting lineup. Delighted to have you with us on an absolutely beautiful Friday in the Ozarks. Ned Reynolds joined by
Scott Purrier.
And Art Haynes will be with us a little bit later on. For the next 2 hours, we are right here talking sports and whatever, usually a lot of whatever. Like to hear from you, and both the text or phone, whichever you prefer, both the same number, 417, the area code. Number is 447-1021. The starting lineup brought to you by Play It Again Sports and the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield and Fremont, Springfield. Some really great trade-in deals for you folks at Play It Again Sports. Stop on down there today. Sometime this weekend, you'll be in for a real treat because the sporting items there are absolutely sensational. Brought to you by Swing Right Golf at the south end of Campbell Avenue, a little bit north of Nixa. Brought to you by Citizens Bank of Rogersville with two routes. That's what they call their locales, routes. One is adjacent to Highland Springs, and the other is in Rogersville itself. And by Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit. A couple of left turns, and you're right there at Marshfield Chevrolet. Great to have you with us, folks, and a big weekend coming up. And, Scott, I know you're absolutely thrilled. The World Cup is underway.
Our cup runneth over, starting yesterday, technically, but tonight with the USA and Paraguay. You know, I've decided the way to remind myself is why ask why is it Paraguay, and that way I can remember. Because we were Paraguay. Going through the Paraguay conundrum there to see what the pronunciation was. But, yeah, a lot of World Cup to talk about. Wanted to tell you, too, that we've got a special guest in studio for a couple hours this morning. Jay Havens, the former Drury basketball assistant, now the head coach at Northeastern State in Tahlequah, MIAA school, on his way to a baseball tournament in Branson with his son this afternoon for the weekend. So they came up last night. Of course, we've been friends since the Drury days, and I said, Jay, come in studio with us. We got lots of stuff we can bounce off of you. So, Jay, good morning. Let me turn your mic on, and now you say good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Great to be here.
Jay's options were either stay at the house and wait for the wives to wake up, or come in with me this morning, and he chose the latter. So, but happy to have you in, and we got lots we can bounce off of you during some of the segments here. Being a Division II basketball head coach, we've talked with every coach we do about what a different world it is with NIL and the portal. We can get into some of that. Your old boss here at Drury, Steve Hesser, going into the Hall of Fame this fall. We can kind of get into what makes Hesser tick, at least what we can say on air. And then also you've got a signee from the area, Sutton Shook, the guard from Logan-Rogersville, the state champion. Their three-point ace signed on with your team as well. So we'll get to all that, but we can start with Shook. Are you pretty excited about him coming down?
Yeah, excited for Sutton. He was a guy that being from or spending time here, you keep up with the local team still from afar, and know what Rogersville's got as a program, and Coach Schaefer doing a great job, and obviously the winning was big there this year. But love what Sutton brings. He's got positional size, and he can really shoot it. Those are two very good things, and thought he really fit us style wise, and comes from a great family. All the things you look for in a recruit, and you can bring in a young guy and hope that he can make an immediate impact, and not only that, but develop within your program as well. And I think he's got the potential for that.
We'll talk to Jay about that and more during the show, our 2 hours. Our lineup today, 7:30, Keith Gutton going to join us, the former Bears baseball coach, now the color commentator for Bears baseball. But we're going to talk to Keith about the College World Series, which gets started this afternoon up in Omaha. Of course, his Bears took a trip there 2003, the one that we'll never forget. A lot of fun with that. And so we'll get Keith's thoughts, some of those memories, and then kind of look at this year's field up in Omaha at the College World Series. Baseball today. We're going to talk to Jason Schwartz, the Springfield Cardinals play-by-play announcer, at 8 o'clock, kind of get the rundown. As Dan Ryder will always admit, and he did the other day, that Dan is worried more about all the things going on around the field and getting people there. And, in terms of the on-field stuff, that's Jason Schwartz and his job, because he goes home and away, right, Ned?
He does all games. Right?
Yeah, and so he sees them night in, night out. We'll kind of get his thoughts on Liam Doyle and some of the other Cardinals that are there now. And then 8:30, Bob Nightingale, the USA Today national baseball writer, one of our longtime guests. We'll catch up with Bob on some of the national happenings going on as well.
some of them. There are a world of things that are going on in Major League Baseball, including the sword of Damocles, which is about to fall on December the 1st. But we'll get into that a little bit later on, how he feels about that.
So our starting five are our top stories from yesterday and what they mean for you going forward this weekend. Let's get the baseball out of the way. The Cardinals dropped the finale at New York against the Mets 5-4 yesterday. Juan Soto's 14th home run of the season was a solo shot off JoJo Romero. Ned was criticizing Soto this all week, and apparently Juan Soto listens to our show in the morning when he gets up because, Ned, you woke the beast there.
Except, Scott, that, they did get a win, but that's the most anemic team in all of baseball. Would they have 3 hits the night before? Now, they did hit the ball, struck the ball well yesterday, but here's Soto, 14 home runs, and he has not been the leader that the Mets thought he would be and bring the team together, and they're just a train wreck.
Well, and it's they have time to get in the – that's the beauty of the wild card situation now with so many available is, and that's why Major League Baseball did it, was to retain interest from start to finish in a long season.
True.
But, if you're within striking distance, even at the All-Star break, you have a big second half. So we'll see if some of those high-priced guys, they need Lindor back. He's kind of the anchor. Even though Soto's the highest-priced guy, Lindor kind of makes him go.
Well, he is, in a sense, Zach. He's there on the bench with him. He just can't play.
Yeah.
He will, I think, once he had some kind of a chest injury of some sort.
I think his was oblique. I think it was an oblique injury, which is the common injury now in baseball, apparently. But get him back. They got Bo Bichette hitting a little bit here lately. He hit a 2-run homer yesterday. I had that game on, and you talk about balls flying out of the yard early on. It was swing, gone. Burleson hit one. Bichette hit one. And Soto's was the difference there late. But the Cardinals dropped the finale. They do take 2 out of 3. Cardinals also got home runs from Jimmy Crooks and Lars Nootbaar. They are headed to Minnesota tonight. Kyle Leahy and Joe Ryan, the matchup 7-10 first pitch. Cardinals start the weekend 4 games back of the Brewers in the NL Central. It's a tough matchup. Joe Ryan's probably the last really good pitcher Minnesota has left.
They don't have very much on their team. They do get some. They got beat yesterday 11-0 by the Detroit Tigers. But over and above all that, it's a Minnesota team that it's up and down, kind of like the New York Mets in a way. Do not have a consistent amount of hitting, but this is a great opportunity for the Cardinals this weekend with 3 games up there. They could do very well, and that's putting the hex on them now, I guess. But
that's usually when they don't do well, is when we say they could do very well this weekend.
Of course.
Yeah, they win the ones you don't think they're going to have a good trip to, and then they lose a couple of the ones that you think they should take all 3. But Cardinals and Twins tonight. Royals fall 4-2 to the Rangers in the series finale at the K to drop 2 out of 3 in that one. I didn't mention it. Somehow I missed it because he's my guy. But Jac Caglianone, 2 more hits yesterday. He had 4 on Wednesday. And they, of course, had, the 2-homer game the day before.
2 homers, yeah.
I think he is something like 17 of his last 36 or something at the point.
He's, as we predicted, and everybody else did too, he's coming on. He's playing the game very well. He's just a natural athlete, and Caglianone can do a lot of things. Look what he did at Florida when he was down there. It took him a while maybe to get into the scheme of things, but the pitching in the minor leagues is so vastly different from what he has in the majors, and heck, he was only in the minors a very short time, so now he's begun to acclimate himself to what it's like, and I think playing very well.
I think I can remember, and always remember this, that we took our oldest grandson to his first Springfield Cardinals game a year ago, May, and that's when Jack was with Northwest Arkansas, and we kind of picked that game in May to go watch him because my thought was he's not going to be here very long, and he wasn't. He was in Omaha for
I think the next week is
pretty quick. But he hit a ball that game we went to. He hit a ball on the roof out in right field,
the training center.
Yeah, and it was deep on the roof. It wasn't one that just kind of got over the front edge of it and was up there. It was, in danger of actually leaving the back side of that roof. But
Coach Rowe would want to say, we need more of those on our side here.
Exactly. Yeah, and so, but he's on a tear, and the guys the national guys, if you look at hard hit percentage, which is kind of one of those things that the mini metrics they measure now, he was leading the league up until about the last week, and he probably even more so now in hard hit percentage. The guys behind him were Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez. And that's a good sign when you're leading that, and those are the guys that are in that category with you. And now those are starting to fall, or they're starting to fall on the other side of the fence, and he's kind of becoming the batting cleanup yesterday. I think you'll see more of that going forward too. But Royals lose 4-2. They've got the Astros coming in 7-10 first pitch tonight. Avila on the hill for the Royals. Imai, I think it's pronounced Imai, the Japanese pitcher. That
Imai.
Came over. He's the one that combined on the no-hitter about, 3 weeks ago?
About 3 weeks, and three of them combined. Yeah. And he's the one who pitched the 6 innings in the game of no-hit.
Yeah, he was a starter. And, it's funny with him because if you remember, he got off to a horrible start. And it mysteriously went on the IL. I think it was more mental than anything else because he came out and said through his interpreter he was having trouble adjusting to the American lifestyle in Houston. I would read that as humidity probably more than anything else. That you've been down there, I'm sure, several times.
Houston? Oh, heavens, yes.
It is the most muggy, humid place I've ever been in my life.
Right there on the Gulf and in the shipping lanes and all that sort of thing. And, humidity is huge.
And traffic is a nightmare. I could see why he kind of got there and went, wait a minute, what is all this? Of course, I'm sure it's not very sparsely populated where he came from in the Japanese.
There is no place that's sparsely populated.
So you think he'd adjusted a little quickly to that. But anyway, Royals and Astros, first of 3 tonight at the K, 7-10 first pitch. Springfield Cardinals, they fell 13-4 to Amarillo last night. Now they've dropped 2 of the first 3 to the Sod Poodles in that series. Game 4 tonight, it is Marty Prather bobblehead giveaway night tonight to the first 2,000 fans. 7:05 first pitch there. 6:35 starts tomorrow night. It's J.J. Weatherholt bobblehead tomorrow, and that'll be a very popular one as well. And then Sunday is a 6:05, and it's Barbie jersey day, so that'll be over there. First in line to get his pink Barbie jersey, Springfield Cardinals version there. So Springfield off Monday, and then at Wichita next week. College World Series baseball gets underway today up in Omaha, as I mentioned. Keith Gutton coming on here and at the bottom of the hour. But first game today, 1 o'clock, Troy versus West Virginia. And then tonight at 6, Ole Miss versus North Carolina. Tomorrow's pairings, Oklahoma and Bama at 2 o'clock. And then, Texas and Georgia at 7.
So have great baseball coming up, and, of course, all this is surrounding the other events like the World Cup that's going on and the NBA World Championship Series, which resumes tomorrow night down in San Antonio. This is interesting because they had been going every other night, and now they've changed it. They dropped the 2 of them. I wonder if the USA playing in the World Cup didn't have something to do with that.
I think that and Saturday night, kind of having,
something to do on
Saturday.
Well,
that and where people have all day to get ready for it. They're not coming home from work and scrambling to get around to watch it. You kind of got the center stage. I'll tell you that Georgia-Texas game, to me, is the most intriguing of the 4 first-round matchups because Georgia I think they've set a record for most home runs per game.
174 total, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's like 2.7 per game, which is far and away a record there. And then Texas, what they do every year, they kind of muddle through the regular season and the conference tournament, and then it comes postseason time, and here they are, and there they are again. So Texas and Georgia, that ought to be a fun one. Oklahoma and Bama. And this, we've talked about it all week. We'll get Keith Gutton's thoughts on all these teams, but this is not the best Oklahoma baseball team they've had in the last few years. Jay, you're down there in the state of Oklahoma, and, of course, grew up down in that Oklahoma City area. Kind of a shock that the Sooners are there.
Got hot at the right time. They're playing really well, and they can put runs up. They can really hit.
Yeah, so it'll be
here
fun.
They go up to Kansas, and in their super regional, they blow out a good Kansas team, and not great, but certainly a good one. And they pile up 14 runs and 13 runs in one game.
Yeah, and won the first one like 8-1, I think, or something. So Kansas was not very competitive in that home super regional there, and I'm sure they're kind of kicking themselves for that opportunity. Let's take a timeout and come back and talk World Cup and NBA and more.
You're listening to the starting lineup. Don't go away. Back in a second. And this is the starting lineup, and we welcome you back. I'm Ed Reynolds along with
Scott Purrier.
Art Haynes will be with us a little bit later on. Continue with the top stories.
Yeah, World Cup underway now. Had 2 matches yesterday. The U.S. versus Paraguay tonight at 8. It'll be televised on Fox. I'm sure that'll have I would guess pretty shockingly good ratings.
Oh, it'll have very good ratings.
Yeah.
I don't know about the 2 games in Mexico yesterday, but this one will be very well watched.
Yeah, Mexico defeats South Africa 2-0, or 2-0 as the soccer people like to say, and then South Korea picks up a 2-1 win over Czechia, which I've seen it both ways now. Czech Republic, Czechia. Is this just a fun way for them to kind of?
It's the folks who live in the country, in that nation itself. They call it Czechia. Mm-hmm. It's shorter, and you don't want to walk around. Where are you from? I'm the Czech Republic. No. Czechia is it.
Exactly. So that was the 2 results from yesterday. Canada plays Bosnia at 2 today in Toronto, and then you got the U.S. and Paraguay tonight in Los Angeles. I was looking ahead to kind of see what's next. The USA's next match will be a week from tonight. They've got Australia. Actually, it's an afternoon game at 2 o'clock in
Where
Seattle.
Where are they playing that one? Oh, Seattle.
In Seattle.
Okay.
Then they go back to L.A. for on Thursday, June 25th versus Turkey. And so, and did you see the way they've got that spelled?
Turkey?
Yeah, Turkai.
That's the Turkish spelling of it.
Yeah.
Look on the how far down does that schedule go?
Well, I'll have to go find it. But
does the USA have any games in Kansas City?
I don't know that the USA comes there, but there are games in Kansas City. Because Michelle Boswell, who we had on a couple days ago with her, My Mom Calls It Soccer podcast, is actually a volunteer, and she has volunteered to join us from time to time to tell us about the atmosphere, and I know they're going to go up to several of the matches too as well. I was trying to dig in, and they talked a little bit about who the U.S. stars are, who are we going to be watching. This 27-year-old Christian is a Pulisic.
I think it's pronounced Pulisic. I think he's an American. He's from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Did not play any college soccer. But he's a soccer prodigy, and his mom and dad are evidently academically very brilliant people. He lived for a while in Great Britain, and on his mom scholarship. She had a Fulbright scholarship, and they are not easy to get. And then came back here and played for the USA team, but he did not play any college soccer at all.
Sure, and he's nicknamed Captain America, so if you're going to have that nickname, you better be pretty good. But look at some of the other storylines. Tim Ream, 38 years old, is our captain and oldest player for the U.S. It could become the oldest ever to play in a World Cup game for our country if he gets in.
How old is he?
38. Anthony Jedi Robinson is a defender to watch. Weston McKinney, defender. Alex Freeman, 21-year-old defender, is the son of Antonio Freeman, the former Green Bay Packers wide receiver. And it's Pulisic, I think. Pulisic. Yeah. So
a lot of those names that end in C, they
itch.
usually have an itch on them.
Yeah. He'll have an itch probably. He'll scratch it. 28-year-old forward Haji Wright, also one of our top players. And the coach, Mauricio, is it Pochettino?
That's good.
The manager coach for USA. Not a U.S. citizen, but an Argentinian native. So they brought him in as a hired gun to coach this U.S. team. 26-player roster, and so we'll try to learn more as we go on this. And my challenge tonight is if it's 0-0, 80 minutes in, Scott, you got to stay with us.
What do you think the house will be there?
Well, I think it's a soccer stadium. It's the L.A. Stadium, correct?
They're playing SoFi.
Oh, it is SoFi Field? Okay, because I think the one when they come back is at
that may be at a
stadium.
soccer, but this one's at SoFi.
Yeah,
right?
So
what's the seat, about 75,000, 80,000, somewhere around there?
Yeah, and I don't know how they sold tickets, if they sold as many as they could, or if they made it, a set number. This is stuff that we should.
Let me interrupt you for a split second. Yeah. Jay Haven's in with us. Does this really capture your imagination? Now, you're a coach, and you've been following athletics, and you're Drury, where soccer's a big deal. What do you feel about the World Cup?
I think it's really cool that we're hosting, so that probably gets your attention, even if you don't follow it typically. So I'm looking forward just to the spectacle of it, the international spectacle, having all the teams in the U.S. But yeah, it's not something I keep up with on the regular, but I think I will pay attention to the games going on.
This is the quadrennial, once every 4 years, not necessarily here, but that's my viewpoint on the thing too. I'm not a follower of it. I don't think there are very many who are, because we're football oriented. But here you do have this international spectacle, and gosh, what's the only time that the USA is involved in international competition is with the Olympics or with the soccer or maybe a boxing match or something like that.
Well, and it's kind of taken its place, like for me, swimming. I don't pay attention to swimming except when the Olympic swimming comes around. Then I'm all about it because I think TV does a really good job of telling the backstories. And it kind of gets you, it was a good example is the horse races, the Triple Crown races. I'm sitting there watching some of the pre-race coverage, and that's a bad thing when you're trying to bet it, because all of a sudden you find out you've just bet on 8 horses that you like their story, and you're not going to make money because this just in, not all 8 are going to win, But they tell you so much behind the scenes, and I think that helps so much to identify into swimming. I hope that I'm sure they will do this with the World Cup, especially with the U.S. players.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Yeah. Would I have known about Mia Hamm without the World Cup on the women's side? No.
Married to a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't. I wouldn't have registered with me anything unless I knew and followed that year. So there'll be some people a month from now, assuming the U.S. lasts more than 2 or 3 weeks, that will be going, oh, yeah, that's the USA World Cup person there too. So do you guys have soccer at Northeastern State?
We do, yeah, men's and women's. And, I love going to the games. Back to your point, I think anytime you can watch the best in the world, I think we look forward to the Olympics because even if you don't follow a lot of those sports, you want to see the best in the world do something. I think that's pretty cool.
Is Northeastern's teams, are they large international flavor, or are they mostly?
Men's is almost exclusively international. Women's is not as much, but yeah, it gives us a good international flair on campus.
Well, and you mentioned soccer at Drury. When we were over there, the really good teams they had were really a mix of international and St. Louis. I remember that probably about 2009 or 10, those Ryan Swan teams, and Alf had some of them. But there were probably 8 to 9 St. Louis kids that were a core part of that. You probably don't have anymore. Is Oklahoma strong in high school soccer? Are there like Oklahoma City, Tulsa, those pockets hotbeds or not?
Not. I don't think you would say nationally competitive on the whole, but there's going to be good players coming out of the bigger cities every year.
And I kind of forget until we go down and see you, but Tahlequah right there on the line. Arkansas, Oklahoma, you're an hour 15 from Fayetteville in northwest Arkansas, so that's a big recruiting area, I would think, too. And I think soccer is pretty big down there, isn't it?
At Arkansas?
In northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
As well. Mm-hmm. So, a couple other top stories. The Canadian Open's underway, the BRC Canadian Open. There's a 6-way tie for the lead at -6. That includes Brooks Koepka and Sam Burns. Of course, these guys are all tuning up for next week's U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills, the third major of the year. Stanley Cup Finals, last night Carolina grabs a 3-2 lead in that series with a 4-2 win at home. Game 6 is Sunday night, and a good job by them. Kind of got things staggered well this weekend. World Cup USA Soccer tonight, NBA Finals Saturday night, Stanley Cup Finals on Sunday night. But Carolina will try to put it away on the road there. Ned mentioned earlier NBA Finals Game 5 tomorrow night down in San Antonio. We'll see if the Spurs can shake off the shock of that 29-point comeback by the Knicks on Wednesday night to steal a win basically at home. And did you see are New York people just idiots? Some of the younger ones,
having the yes,
throwing eggs at Wemby when they're walking to their team.
Of course, it was all kids too.
Yeah. This is not people our age or even Jay's age or younger. It's the 20-somethings and teenagers and things like that, but just uncalled for.
Totally. But again, they're feeling the spirit of the whole circumstances going on there and building on the crowds and the rather interesting post-game circumstances that occurred at the Garden after that comeback. I want to pose a question to the basketball coach here real quickly. Kid steals the ball at midcourt with 10 seconds to go and his team is up by 1. Do you yell from the sideline, don't do anything, hold the ball, control the clock, get fouled, or do you say, hey, go for the basket?
Hopefully in the moment they kind of know the expectation. Those are, through an 82-game season and how countless practices, you hope that there's that thought. But that's one of those that, you could debate. I mean, there's probably people on both sides of dribble it out, see if you can get fouled, but there's no guarantee that you're going to make free throws. Or if I can go get the points, now we're up 3, and the only thing that can tie it is a 3 at that point. And I think, according to what he said, he thought he was going to get to the rim, had no idea that OG was closing that quickly. And but yeah, definitely a bang play that ended up being a huge play, and credit to OG for sticking with the play and not allowing the easy basket in that situation.
I think it was De'Aaron Fox, if I'm not mistaken, and if so, what would his college coach, Mr. Calipari, have had to say about that? I think I know.
Jay, I wanted to ask you, since your background's entirely in college coaching, since you got into the gig, and NBA coaching, easier, more difficult? How would you, in your industry, how do guys classify that? If there's a really good college coach that gets a chance. So what was the guy at Butler, Brad Stevens? Brad Stevens that made the jump to the NBA.
Yeah, Boston Celtics.
Yeah, what is the big difference, and is it an easier job or a tougher job kind of in the mind of the industry?
I think it probably depends on who you ask. Things are, there's challenges at every level. I think the draw to that level, obviously now, is it's strictly basketball. You're coaching basketball, and I think at that level, more than anything, it's managing personalities and hoping you have alignment.
Egos.
Yep. Hoping you have alignment within your organization, the GM, the owner, that they're gonna give you the freedom to coach. They're gonna give you the resources you need to be. And being where we are, Oklahoma City is a elite organization from the top down. Sam Presti is the GM and Dagnalt as the coach, and just watching what they do, I think they're a model for how you want to do it at that level, and the buy-in they're able to get and the culture they're able to create. I think that's probably the envy of the entire league.
Dagnalt has the same expression on his face throughout the game, like he's studying or things like that. Did we know anything about him before this Thunder uprising? What was his background?
Well, he was a manager for Billy Donovan at Florida. And so when Billy Donovan comes to Oklahoma City, Dagnalt gets on as the coach of the G League team, the Oklahoma City Blue, and was there. And so I actually got a chance to hear him speak at a coaching clinic that was hosted by the Thunder when Donovan was there, and you could tell he was very sharp. They with the way that things played out in Oklahoma City, they had a reset basically. They had the lean years where they had to start the roster over, and they stuck with him, and they were able to Presti is elite in his moves, and the SGA trade will go down as one of the all-time great moves in front office history in the NBA, and really led to what they've been able to build. And Dagnalt's been the guy, and like you said, just a steady, stoic.
Yeah.
He does not get frustrated. He just sticks with the guys and sticks with what they do. And I think he and Presti together really share that same mindset, and I think it's led to a lot of success, obviously.
Did Billy speak at that function that you went
to? He did, yeah.
How did he do?
He's great. He's so sharp. Yeah. He knows his stuff, and obviously you win back-to-back titles at Florida at the highest level of college basketball, and just has a great background, and learning from Coach Pitino, playing for him, and he was very entertaining.
I bet he was.
A couple other notes before we go to break and visit with Keith Gutton on the other side. NASCAR is at Pocono on Sunday afternoon for the race there. I wanted to wish good luck to our local girl, Reagan Zabilski. She makes her pro debut today on the Epson Tour. She is in the Firekeepers Casino Hotel Championship in Marshall, Michigan, and it's a 54-hole event being played at the Medalist Golf Club. Looked into this. It's an event that's been there, I think, for at least a dozen years. First place in this is about $33,000. So Reagan was the 4-time state champion at Catholic, 3 individual titles, had a great career at Arkansas, was named honorable mention All-American earlier this week, starts her pro career today, so good luck to her up in Michigan. It should be fun to it's nice to be able to follow somebody now on one of those tours and have a local rooting interest, because we haven't had a lot of that here lately.
She'll play well. She's an outstanding athlete.
Yeah, let's take a
All right, brief break on the starting lineup, and be right back with Coach Gutton. And we welcome you back to the starting lineup, brought to you by Play It Again Sports, by Swing Right Golf, by Marshfield Chevrolet, and by Citizens Bank of Rogersville. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Purrier.
Art Haynes will be with us a short time. Special guest.
Special guest on with us is one of the bright young stars of announcing in the college baseball world.
I don't know about young.
Bright stars. How's that? Is that better? Maybe. But we've enjoyed having him on all year talking about Bears baseball. He was the coach for 42 years of the program. We welcome in Keith Gutton. Keith, good morning.
Good to be with you guys. Let's go.
What does Omaha, when this starts today, does it conjure up memories of 2003 and your trip every year, or how do you approach it? And are you a guy that will watch virtually every game of the tournament?
No, it doesn't really conjure up memories. Those memories, Scott, strangely enough, stay with you literally every day during the spring, hoping your favorite team can get back there. And I think we've got a great guy in charge of the program that can help us get back there. It's kind of become an annual with myself and some family members, actually in Kansas City now, and after the interview, going to head to Omaha and watch the first game of Troy and West Virginia.
Troy, kind of the Missouri State Bears of 2026 in terms of the mid-major underdog team to root for. Are you surprised they're there?
Not surprised. Great pitching. In the time of the transfer portal, if you take a Troy, which already had a very good program but hadn't gotten over that hump, and you infuse them with some high-quality pitching that either they developed, got in junior college ranks, or bought in the portal, you can get there without any question. And, Little Rock did a great job of winning that regional, and then obviously Troy or Little Rock was going to get to Omaha.
Who would you consider the favorite this next week and a half? Georgia's the highest remaining seed at number 3, a team that just obliterated Arkansas twice. I know I saw a couple of those games, but are they the one to beat, you think, in your mind?
I think on paper they are. They won the regular season SEC, the conference tournament, their regional that they hosted, their super that they hosted. So there's only one thing left for them to win. They're seasoned. Of their 34 on their roster, at least 26 are transfers, whether it be junior college or portal. They're seasoned. They're disciplined. They have the thing that they can get you is if you have a great offense, which they do, one of the best in the country, ranked in the top 10 in a lot of categories, you can get shut down easily. And with this bracket, the pitching can be spread out a little bit more. Saying all that, I would suggest that Georgia and probably Texas would be the two that I think have the most tools to win this.
Keith, when you take a look at the history of the College World Series, there are a couple of, and I don't mean this to be negative, but relatively speaking, no-name teams that have come in there and won at Coastal Carolina, won it 1 year, and Stony Brook won 1 year. What is it about the level of competition here that brings the lower-level teams together?
Well, in my experience, Ned, and for us to be able to get there the one time we did, you need great pitching and seasoned older position players. Some of those pitchers we had, we're fortunate they went on and had major league careers, but we had not the position players, but we had really good older position players along with great pitching. That's the formula, I think, for a Troy or I think Fresno State won it. Coastal won. Coastal's a national program. They're not a surprise. They've won it. They've been there a couple times. But for Troy to win it, they're going to have to pitch extremely well. I really like when I watch West Virginia play. Very, very fundamentally sound. A lot of these groups are driven by transfers, portal, and junior college, and they're very experienced. And in most cases, they have the payroll to buy those guys each year.
And I think that's why it's so much fun to see like a Troy get there in today's world, because obviously Troy doesn't have the budget that a Georgia does to go get 26 guys, but it's kind of the same thing with Indiana football. You get the right guys and they play well together, and you get and the thing you didn't mention, and I know that you agree, is you got to have a little luck too. I mean, you got to have the draw fall right. I mean, if Troy, Little Rock winning that other, sub-regional or regional and to get to the super regional, that was a big break for them because they knew one of the two of them was going to Omaha.
Yeah, and the bigger break, Scott, I think, was they were able to host.
Yeah.
And you put 7,000 people in a Troy stadium, I mean, that place is going to be insane. West Virginia was able to host. They earned it. Hosting is a big thing. I mean, it's an advantage. The percentages, the numbers tell you that.
Here you have a couple of Mountaineers, too, who are playing for the St. Louis Cardinals. Or anyway, Victor Scott's back in the minor leagues now, but Weatherholt's on there. This is interesting, too, because West Virginia is not exactly a big name in baseball.
They're not, Ned, but if you look at the last 5 years, I think they've been to 4 straight regionals, 2 super regionals, came very, very close, and I watched some of their super regional. That's a really, really good, well-coached team, West Virginia, who went to Kansas, the Big 12 regular season and tournament champions, went there in the regular season and swept Kansas. West Virginia is very good.
You were in Lawrence, obviously, with the Bears for the regional up there and got to see KU. Were you surprised how easily Oklahoma handled them in that super regional?
KU was a good team. There's no question. You win the regular season and the tournament in the Big 12, you're a good team. Older team. Oklahoma's playing very, very well. Oklahoma's a team that's about 500 in the regular season SEC, but they've really gotten hot. Skip Johnson, whose background is pitching, has moved some guys, some pieces around. In the super regional against Kansas, their first game starter was a freshman and their second game starter was a freshman. So he can keep those guys in his program. You're going to hear a lot from Oklahoma, but that's a really, really good team.
Hey, Keith, what's happened to Rosenblatt Stadium? Is it still standing?
I honestly don't know, Ned. I haven't seen Rosenblatt probably for years and years, but I know the zoo was next to it. I don't know if part of it's down and they've expanded the zoo. That's a good question.
I wanted to ask you the way they pair these up in Omaha. I mean, to me, it looks like the Saturday bracket with OU, Bama, Texas, and Georgia is stronger than the Troy, West Virginia, Ole Miss, and North Carolina. I mean, and that's just on paper.
I think those are prepared, Scott.
Yeah. Do you like that or not?
No, I mean, if I'm Georgia or, who'd you say they were playing?
Bama and OU, the other one. Today's Troy, West Virginia, and then Ole Miss and North Carolina. And then it's Bama, OU, Texas, Georgia.
But Georgia has to play Texas the first round. Is that correct?
Yeah, tomorrow night.
That to me, those are the 2 best teams on paper. So I don't think Georgia and Texas feel like that's fair.
They're not real thrilled with that, then, huh? Well, what about?
I wouldn't think so, but
yeah. What about the fact that the portal opens up before all the teams are done? As a former coach,
well, if you're asking me if I feel sorry for the teams at the World Series that they get a late start, the answer is hell no.
But I mean,
seriously,
yeah.
You're at the World Series and you're complaining you can't. You've got a phone and you've got a computer, so you can recruit. You're at the World Series. That speaks to your program. That's where kids want to get to. Yes, you're getting a little later start on in-person visits, but they can make it up at the bank, believe me.
But they also don't know who they're going to keep and who's leaving, though, right? Because kids haven't declared. Because they're not going to say before they go to Omaha, "Hey, I'm out of here."
You know it, but you don't know it.
Okay,
it's not official, but you know, as those coaches know who they don't want back. They know, and it would be rare, I think, for a top player in the World Series at one of these institutions, particularly the SEC ones, to leave that program because, their rosters. I mean, I would suggest, and this is based on talking to people around the SEC last year or two, that an average baseball roster in the SEC costs $2 to $3 million to put together.
And that was my next question was,
we're a little short of that here.
Yeah. What is the range? Because we hear about football, and of course Brandon Sorsby, the gambling machine down at Texas Tech, making $5 million to quarterback that team. But what is the range at the top end of Division I Power 4 baseball? What do you hear top salaries there? What is kind of an average? Because the Bears.
Well, I've heard as much as $500,000 for the top like national type first team All-American players. And I would suggest there's probably guys on those rosters that are on the low end getting maybe $75,000 to $100,000 on the low end.
Well, the whole circumstance is so different, Keith. You've only been out of the game for just a short time now as far as active coaching is concerned. But could you and did you acclimate yourself to that level of trying to recruit with the money and so forth and so on, considering the limited basis that you all have?
No and no.
So, I was going to say, I would have loved to see the conversation from a kid that walked into Gutton's office and said, Coach, I hit 280 this year. I need more money. That wouldn't have gone well, would it?
Well, that's kind of not who we were. That wasn't the time. Joey said to me maybe yesterday, now I know why you got out. But he's very equipped for this. He handles money well. He deals with people well, and it's kind of the nature of the game suits him very well. I never had a recruit ask for NIL or competitive excellence. Not one the whole time I was there. Maybe we were recruiting the right kids character-wise. Maybe we weren't recruiting the right kids talent-wise. I think we were. But I think it's just really escalated the last couple of years.
Not official yet till the Board of Regents, but it's kind of the worst-kept secret. Cale Johnson, the new pitching coach, coming over there from Dallas Baptist. What is your relationship with him? How far back do you guys go, and what are your thoughts on what he brings to the program?
Well, I first met him at Dallas Baptist this year. Joey introduced me to him. I had no background with Cale. He was here during COVID when they had the auxiliary site. He ran the pitching side, and Joey was involved heavily on the position side. So that's where I think their connection began. They coached together in pro ball. His resume is very, very impressive. Long time with the Braves, co-pitching director in minor leagues. I read some of the comments on his bio that are from very well-respected professional people. So his resume is outstanding. He was here, fairly quick, getting started on a part-time basis. And, I think he's going to bring a lot. With Coach Evans, pitchers would come here for a long time because of him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where Joey needs to get to with that pitching position. Pitchers need to come here because they know they're going to get the best they can. And what you're dealing now with, Scott, you're dealing with scouts, you're dealing with agents on a lot of these kids. And agents, believe it or not, want to send kids where they know they're going to get a certain type of coaching and enhance their value. I think you're going to see a lot of that with Cale Johnson.
Bears will have a very much a new look team next year with graduation, with guys expected maybe to be drafted and move on to the pro ranks. We've had it confirmed that Logan Fife is coming back, which is one of the key pieces. A lot of work for Joey and his staff to do in the next few weeks.
Yeah, they've been hunkered down at the stadium with computers, phones, and a bank account trying to get these guys in. I mean, it's literally all of June when they can go in. And then after that, I mean, they've already had guys in on visits. They've already got some commitments. That's for them to talk about, not me. But obviously, we have a good number of pitchers back, but those pitchers need to improve, and we need to enhance the pitching staff. Losing a lot positionally. You've got Fife backs. You've got Jax Ryan. There's a chance they could keep Max Knight, and I think that's a very, very critical piece. I mean, he has Friday night stuff in Conference USA ability. He started off the season well. It kind of hit a little bit of a skid. In his last 3 to 4 weeks, I mean, he was outstanding. Just kind of a wait and see there about if he's drafted, where he's drafted, and what Max wants to do. But if this 5 for 5 passes with eligibility and 5 years of playing, the leverage year that you lose, you would have back. Not saying guys would come back and play 5, but take a guy like Max who's finished 3 years, and money-wise, before the 5 for 5, he would have no leverage as a senior. He'll have some leverage now. But, again, those are individual decisions, and I want to say the draft starts July 12th.
Keith, has Coach Hawkins made the transition from assistant coach to head coach with your guidance? Has he done that smoothly, in your opinion?
I don't know about my guidance, but I think he's outstanding. And, I look back, Ned, to the 3 years that we were together when he was my assistant, and, we'd have frank discussions, whether it's personnel, strategy, whatever, game time decisions, in-game decisions, and I'd always look back afterward and say, you know what, he was probably right more than I was. So he's very well equipped, good communication skills, extremely organized, great teacher, surrounds himself with some really good people on his staff, too many to mention for me, but Jeff Jimenez, and of course Deck was good. He's got Cale Johnson now. He's got Kyle Cliff, pitching analyst, Tanner Peterson, Aaron Sawchuk. All these people are really, really good at what they do. So I think he's got a good organization, and he's laid the groundwork very well.
Keith, before we let you go, you guys as baseball coaches had to deal with something that a lot of the sports don't have to worry about, and that's basically the draft coming about a month before kids show up on your campus, and you lose guys to the draft. Who was the one guy that you look back now that you lost to the draft that's like, dang, that guy could have really helped us?
Well, John Barrett would be the one that comes to mind initially, the Hillcrest left-hander who was as good a high school pitcher performance-wise as I've ever seen. And now the rules were a little different then. You could wait up until the day of class to sign.
Yeah.
If you attended class, you had to go to school. And John signed late, and that's the guy that I think really would have helped our program.
Very good, Keith. Appreciate it. As always, enjoy your summer. We'll have you back from time to time, talk some baseball, and enjoy the CWS.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
You betcha.
42 years as a head coach at Missouri State. Keith Gutton visiting with us, back with the starting lineup in just a second. And you're home for the Cardinals as well as they play the Minnesota Twins tonight. Fire away.
Yeah, second hour, we're going to talk Springfield Cardinals baseball with Jason Schwartz, and then 8:30, Bob Nightingale on the national baseball scene. Our Bear of the Day release coming out today is a Colorado State Pueblo transfer for Conzo Martin's Bears. Jordan Blair is the name. 6'5", 6'6", guard forward. Averaged about 13 and 6 last year for Colorado State Pueblo. It's a D2 school. Was a Texas high school kid, averaged 21 a game at Keller, Texas Central in his career there. So that's 3 Bears now that have been announced. And
leaves us with how many more now?
We have no idea. It's stay tuned. And I see why they're doing this because it keeps them in the news every day.
So now you're planning the show, and you have to put a certain amount of time.
Exactly.
How many more shows? 7, would you say? 8?
October 17th is the final announcement of signings there. But anyway, Jordan Blair, Qual, and Dylan Rowe, the 3 that have been announced for the Bears for Conzo Martin's team for this winter.
And they're all getting set for the 26-27 season, which is, interestingly enough, forthcoming and not all that far away. All right, gang, we'll take our mid-show timeout here on the starting lineup. Brief break, and then some very big names coming up in the next segment. Stay right where you are.